Docker and virtual machines, VMs, are both popular tools for deploying and managing applications, but they have some key differences in terms of their pros and cons. Docker pros. Lightweight, Docker containers are much smaller and faster to start up than VMs, as they don't require a full operating system and can share the host kernel. Scalable, Docker makes it easy to scale applications horizontally by creating multiple containers of the same image, which can be managed as a single unit. Portability, Docker containers can run on any host that supports Docker, regardless of the underlying infrastructure or operating system. Consistent environment, Docker ensures that your application runs in a consistent environment with the same dependencies and configurations, regardless of the host environment. Docker cons. Security risks, Docker containers share the same host kernel, which can potentially create security risks if a container is compromised. Limited hardware access, Docker containers don't have direct access to the host hardware, which can be a limitation for some applications that require low-level hardware access. Limited isolation, Docker containers are not as isolated from each other as VMs, as they share the same host kernel and file system. VMs pros. Full isolation, VMs provide complete isolation from each other, as each VM runs on its own virtualized hardware with its own operating system. Hardware access, VMs have direct access to the host hardware, which can be important for applications that require low-level hardware access. Security, VMs provide an additional layer of security, as each VM runs on its own virtualized hardware and can be isolated from the host environment. VMs cons. Resource-intensive, VMs require a full operating system and virtual hardware, which makes them much larger and slower to start up than Docker containers. Less scalable, VMs are generally less scalable than Docker containers, as each VM needs to be managed separately and requires more resources. Less portable, VMs are tied to a specific hardware environment and operating system, which can make them less portable than Docker containers. In summary, Docker is a good choice for deploying and managing lightweight, scalable, and portable applications, while VMs are a better choice for applications that require complete isolation and low-level hardware access. Here are a few more points to consider when comparing Docker and VMs. Development workflow, Docker can be useful in streamlining the development workflow, as developers can work in consistent environments across different machines and operating systems. With Docker, developers can easily package and share their development environments with others, reducing setup time and increasing consistency. Resource usage, Docker containers use fewer resources than VMs, which can be an important factor when working with limited hardware resources or when deploying applications to the cloud. Networking, Docker provides an easy way to create and manage networks for containers, while networking in VMs can be more complex and require additional configuration. Backup and recovery, Docker containers can be backed up and recovered easily, as they are just lightweight packages that can be moved around. VMs, on the other hand, require more complex backup and recovery procedures, as they consist of multiple components such as virtual hardware, storage, and network configuration. Ultimately, the choice between Docker and VMs depends on the specific use case and requirements of the application being deployed. In some cases, a combination of both Docker and VMs may be the best option to achieve the desired level of isolation, scalability, and portability.